それと伝言だ。
月、一緒に行けなくてごめんな。
Hey guys, it's Ash here with WatchMojo, and these are the top 20 anime where the villain wins.
I just want to hear you say that you give up. Huh? Well, I do. I do give up.
For this list, we'll be looking at the most shocking moments where antagonists secured total victory over a hero. Expect some pretty big spoilers along the way. Number 20, Speedgrapher. Despite Saiga's best efforts, his last stand quite literally goes up in flames. In his defense, the plan was pretty straightforward. Capture the mischievous Sui Tengu, dismantle his evil club, and walk off into the sunset. But Saiga didn't fully grasp how much of a selfish prick Sui Tengu really is. Instead of going down quietly, the villain decided to bring the whole building down with him, including the rest of the club's members and the absurd amount of money that they were hoarding.
Sui Tengu has blown himself up with a building. Please stop the operation.
Sui Tengu's actions left Saiga blind, and the rest of the world in complete financial ruin. Sure, Sui Tengu died in the process, but it's hard to consider this anything less than a crushing defeat. Number 19, Panty and Stalking with GARTERBELT. The Anarchy sisters spend most of this finale beating up Big Bad Corset. Eventually, they win, and the screen fades to black, or so it seems. In an after-credit scene, Stalking suddenly takes out her blades and turns Panty into human sushi.
That was not according to plan!
Apparently, she's a demon. Corset's back too, and they have an ultimatum. Either Briefs unlocks Hell's Gate, or Panty remains a pile of sliced remains. Then the episode ends. This time for good. Look, we get it, this show isn't exactly known for playing it safe, but ending the season with Stalking going to the dark side is a different kind of bonkers. It's no wonder she got kicked out of heaven.
Go! Follow the Panty path! Brief and Chuck, be on your way!
Number 18, Tokyo ESP. He may have gotten a knife in the back, but all things considered, the professor had a pretty successful day. He fulfilled his wish of creating more psychic-powered espers.
これは私の選んだ号だ。君は生きてヒーローとなる。
Unfortunately, the jury's still out on whether the professor will be around long enough to see it. On paper, it almost sounds like the end of a tragedy. The only issue is that the professor isn't the hero of Tokyo ESP. No, he's a sadistic radical with no regard for the consequences of his actions.
町は無法地帯と化してしもた。そこかしこで犯罪が起き、超能力者による事件は増加の一途じゃ。
The only sad part of his otherworldly capture is that he doesn't have to live through the societal collapse he ushered in. Number 17, CHRONO CRUSADE. Saving the world with your beloved sounds like the recipe for a happily ever after, right? Well, that's not quite how things turned out. In order to foil Ion's evil plans, CHRONO and Rosette had to give up their own lives. Don't let the sappy goodbye fool you though. This ending is all bitter, no sweet.
Thank you.
As it turns out, Ion didn't actually perish during the final battle. Instead, he went into hiding and continued his schemes from the shadows. In the end, all CHRONO and Rosette's sacrifice did was delay the inevitable. Now Ion's back, and there's no one left to stop him from ruling the world as he sees fit.
No matter how hard people struggle, their fates are in our hands.
Number 16, Dragon Ball Z Battle of Gods. Goku has a pretty great track record when it comes to saving the Earth, but not even Super Saiyans can bat 100, especially when actual gods are involved. Beerus the Destroyer was simply on a different level, and no amount of last-minute power-ups could change that. Trust us, Goku tried.
I mean, you're the strongest in the whole universe.
Well, I'm happy to see you're finally realizing the full terror of Beerus the Destroyer.
While his efforts couldn't get him on the board, they did earn Beerus' respect. In return, the gods spared Earth from destruction, at least for the day.
Guess I'll just have to come back another time and finish destroying the rest.
Thanks, Lord Beerus.
Anything that keeps the planet spinning is a win in our book, but that doesn't change the fact that the final score is still Beerus 1, Goku 0. Number 15, Wolf's Reign. When the world ends, legends say that wolves will find a doorway into a so-called paradise. You'd think that most people would hear that and start protecting the furry canines. Not Lord Darcia III though. Alternatively, he lies, cheats, and kills in order to claim paradise for himself.
This is it. The entrance to paradise.
Even worse, his path to the Promised Land is littered with the bodies of almost every main character in Wolf's Reign. Then, when Darcia finally touches paradise, his corrupt ideals end up poisoning the oasis for everyone.
What should I do? I don't have anything left to protect.
So not only is he a hot-blooded wolf killer, but he made the whole of humanity pay the price for his selfishness. Number 14, the end of Evangelion. As if the first two weren't bad enough, the shady organization Seele decides to hit humanity with a third angelic impact. As it turns out, the third time really is the charm.
何のためにあるの？むしろいない方がいいんだ。だから僕も死んじゃえ。
The ritual finally succeeds in activating human instrumentality. Then, by using Shinji's contorted desires as a basis, it all begins to meld all of humanity's consciousness into a single entity. In layman's terms, it's the end of everything. Luckily, instrumentality came with a backspace button courtesy of one Shinji Ikari. Once he realized the error of his ways, the Eva pilot was able to turn everything back to its proper form.
だけど、それも当たり前のことに何度も気づくだけなんだ。自分が自分でいるために。
Seilei's third impact may ultimately be a pointless victory, but it's still a victory nonetheless. Number 13, HELLSING Ultimate. Even in a world of monsters and mayhem, there may not be a more despicable person than the Major. All of his sinister motivations can be boiled down to one word: war. To put it bluntly, he wanted people to fight. Since he lacked even the tiniest shred of human empathy, there was no stopping him from turning that dream into a reality.
さあ、戦争をしよう。
Major's actions caused untold horror onto the world, and even Alucard felt the repercussions. If there's any justice, it's that the Major got a bullet to the head before he could do any more damage. But the bastard still died happy, knowing he accomplished everything he ever wanted.
良い戦争だったか、少佐。
Number 12, Shaman King. He had to wait until his third life, but Hao finally got every single one of his wishes. Becoming Shaman King? Yep. Uniting with the all-powerful Great Spirit? Absolutely. Using his newfound power to make a fool of everyone around him? Yes, yes, and yes.
これに吸い込まれたが最後。お前たちの魂は無限に収縮し、二度と出られることはない。
But in doing all that, Hao also remembered the real reason he wanted to become Shaman King in the first place, to see his dead mother again. Thankfully, the first thing she does is slap some sense into him. Hao takes his mother's word to heart and decides to show mercy to mankind. Given his vengeful tendencies, that's the best outcome anyone could have hoped for.
僕はシャーマンキングだ。慣れ慣れしく呼ぶなよ。よ。
Number 11, Cyberpunk Edgerunners. In order to protect what he thought was right, David Martinez pushed his cybernetic spine to its absolute limits, and none of it mattered.
安心しろ、皆殺しだ。寂しくはないだろう。
お前一人で死ねよ。
Against the ruthless Atom Smasher, David was nothing more than a glorified toothpick. The Edgerunner didn't go down quietly, but all it did was prolong his suffering. The most heartbreaking part is realizing how little David's death mattered. He bought his allies a little time to escape, but that's just a band-aid fix on the real issues. The Arasaka Corporation is still after Lucy. Communities are still rampant with debt and corruption. The only real difference in the world is that David isn't in it anymore.
結構面白かったぞ。お前ならいいコンストラクトになるかもしれんのにな。
Number 10, Persona 4 The Golden Animation. Thank you, Mr. Accomplice. The original Persona 4 animated series had a few pitfalls, but for the most part it was an enjoyable watch. Persona 4 Golden, on the other hand, well, not so much, mainly due to the whole thing being a rushed rehash with the addition of the unnecessary Marie.
どうしたの？何があったの？
行かなきゃ。
ねえってば。
Then there's this OVA where you helps the culprit get away with his crimes?
これで事件は完全に闇の中だ。ありがとう、共犯者さん。
In what boils down to the bad ending, this alternative take on the series sees Adachi escape his crimes scot-free while the mysterious fog continues to consume the town. Why? Number 9, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, Phantom Blood. It's sad to think about it, but if you really look at how things ended for Jonathan Joestar, you'll see that the victor was none other than Dio. Just as he was about to go on his honeymoon with his beloved Erina, Dio's disembodied yet still living head manages to kill JoJo.
こいつ死んでいる。
His final moments may be that of a true gentleman, and he does manage to save Erina from suffering the same fates, but that doesn't change the fact that the series ended with JoJo dying and Dio going on to take his body for himself. Talk about Muda. Number 8, Oremo. Where's the villain, you ask? It's Kirino, of course. That closet otaku who's abusive to everyone she meets while secretly pining for her brother. You can debate all you want about how she learns humility by the end of the series, but she still succeeds in her goal of ensuring that her brother, Kyosuke, abandons any chances to be with other girls and instead falls for her. They even do a fake wedding. Yeah, Kyosuke is an idiot for wanting to take his sister to the boneyard, but she's still the devious mastermind who started it. We miss Kuroneko. Number 7, Yu Yu Hakusho.
My absorbing wall is invincible to any attack. Then you don't mind if I try!
In case you hadn't heard, Yusuke Urameshi is something of a badass. A juvenile delinquent turned spirit detective who happens to have a demon lineage. It's no wonder he was able to overcome absolute monsters like Toguro and Sensui. Then came the final arc, and unlike the Dark Tournament, this is one bout that Yusuke actually ended up losing.
You can't end a good party without someone on the floor.
I suppose not.
Don't get us wrong, Yomi was a powerful foe and ends up changing his mind about eating humans at the last minute. But this is Yusuke we're talking about. This is the kind of crap we expect to see happen to Kuwabara.
No, Yusuke, the tournament is over. What?
Number 6, Dragon Ball Super. Alternate timelines. The ultimate excuse for messing with characters and lore without any fear of consequences. As it happens, this one is home to Goku Black, who thrives on the slaughter of innocents. Sure, Zeno manages to use his divine powers to essentially retcon the entire timeline, but before he met his demise, Zamasu still succeeded in his Zero Mortals plan. A mission that saw him massacre basically all of mankind. Wow, now that's some Frieza level villainy right there. Number 5, KAIJI, Ultimate Survivor. You just had to give in to greed, didn't you, KAIJI? You nearly met your end a dozen times and even got your ear cut off, but it still wasn't enough. After managing to defeat Tonegawa in the deadliest card game of all time, KAIJI gives up his one chance to walk away rich in order to try and defeat the perverse chairman for an even greater fortune. Unfortunately, he had no idea that he was facing off against an expert cheater who saw through his game plan. As a result, KAIJI ends up getting his fingers chopped off, guillotine style. Number 4. Fate Zero. So many sacrifices, so many dead dreams, all for nothing. As the Fourth Holy Grail War comes to a close, the only ones who manage to walk away unpunished are the heartless Kotomine and egotistical Gilgamesh. Doesn't help that the chaos of Fuyuki City was exactly what they wanted.
聖杯が真に勝者の願望を汲み取るのであるならば、ことみねきれい。この景色こそがお前の求め欲していたものだ。
Given how Kuritsugu lost literally everything, Saber was denied her wish, and Karia, well, Karia just got screwed over. Seeing the dastardly duo get off scot-free was beyond disheartening.
神すら問い殺す貴様の愚道。このギルガメッシュが見届けてやる。
Number 3. Devilman Crybaby.
さあ、アキラ。ふざけるな！
Though he was initially fighting alongside Akira against the demon forces, when Ryo's true self was revealed to him amidst the chaos, he quickly fell back into old habits, messing up humanity and whatnot. In the concluding episode, as Satan, he commanded the demonic legions against the last of humanity and Akira's Devilman army. Not today, Satan. Oh, wait, he won. This one is a little more complicated than the rest though, since despite ultimately winning the battle against his best friend, he soon came to see the error of his ways. Oh yeah, and then he got nuked by God. Number 2. Berserk. You haven't seen betrayal until you witness the douchebaggery that is Griffith. After being crippled beyond recognition, the former leader of the Band of the Hawk is offered a deal by the demonic entities known as the God Hand. With the promise of having his dream fulfilled, all Griffith needs to do in return is sacrifice his comrades.
I submit.
Spoilers, he does. If that wasn't horrific enough, after assuming his new guise of Femto, he goes on to spite his once closest ally Guts by violating his love interest Casca right before his eyes. Not hard to see why Guts might have a bone to pick with him after that. Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure to go into your settings and switch on notifications. Number 1. Mobile Suit Gundam Iron-Blooded Orphans. After watching these child soldiers suffer such hardships and fight against all manner of hostilities, we were desperate to see Tekadan make it through this last stand. And yet, by the end of it all, Gjallarhorn were the ones who claimed victory, and that scumbag Rustal Elion became their new leader. The only silver linings being that some of Tekadan's members managed to escape, and eventually Kudelia did succeed in giving Maz the independence and freedom it deserved. However, that doesn't take away the pain of watching both Mikazuki and Orga die, especially when Mikazuki was defeated by Julieta, the worst anime character in history. Did you enjoy this video? Check out these other clips from WatchMojo and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.